Am I the asshole for telling people not to eat the food at my sister's wedding? My husband, 27 male, and I, 26 female, were married 8 months ago. We had a big wedding with lots of food and drinks and people. I knew we would likely have leftovers, so I arranged for them to be donated to the soup kitchen we sometimes work with. However, my mom went behind my back and took most of it with her. I didn't really know what happened to the food until now. My sister Callie, 30 female, got married over the long weekend. She didn't want to mess with any of the planning and, knowing how my mom was during my wedding, decided to let our mom take over the whole thing. All we had to do was show up where we were told and party. The ceremony was beautiful, but it was when the buffet was revealed that I noticed something odd. The food looked eerily familiar, like identical to what I had for my wedding, except for a little more dried out and sad. I found an opening and went to ask my mom about it, where she happily told me she saved a fortune by unfreezing the food from my wedding to serve to the guests now. I was horrified and immediately voiced my concerns about safety. She got upset and said I was acting like a snob and should be happy the food wasn't going to waste. I argued that it was never going to be wasted, but she wouldn't hear it. I didn't want to make a scene, but was worried about people getting sick, so I snuck off to see my sister. She was horribly embarrassed. She mentioned that my mom said something about saving money, but didn't question it because she didn't want to foot the bill like I had. She told me not to eat the food and thanked me for the warning. From there, my husband and I discreetly started telling some guests to be wary of the food, and the rest of the night was fine. Some guests?
They picked who they didn't want to get sick.
Okay.
They didn't pick the people with beards.
My mom caught some flack for being cheap, but I've also been catching heat. Some of our relatives have been saying that I intentionally made my family look bad and that the food was fine as it was frozen and then defrosted for the wedding. They say no one would have known if I didn't make a stink over it. I didn't know if I did anything wrong. I could use some help and would like to know if I should apologize. Am I the asshole?
No, your mom is the
Your
asshole.
mom is such an asshole. Crazy.
That's absurd.
Who-
I'm speechless.
Who thinks to reuse food from 8 months ago
At a wedding.
That is so bizarre.
Like 8 months, some things I guess can be in the freezer and it's fine. But to serve your leftover wedding food at your, like, I know she didn't do it. I know OP didn't do it. But just from your perspective, your leftover wedding food is now the dinner at your sister's wedding. What mom? I mean, put her on Extreme Cheapskates or whatever that show is. Like, please put her on that, because to say you saved a fortune in the food for the wedding, I would have dished out the money. Are you kidding me? Please, if someone says they're going to serve Kelly's leftover wedding food at my wedding, cancel the wedding. Like, please, I don't need to get married. We'll go to the courthouse. Like, are you joking me? That sounds fake. Like, this literally sounds too good to be true. Like,
It's crazy.
are we sure this isn't like an urban myth story?
I don't know.
That's insane.
Yeah, my only reservation is the deed was done. So, like, going around to the wedding guest and picking and choosing certain people and being like, oh, don't eat the food, but then not giving them a reason why, and like creating this weird energy where there's like a secret being told between half the guests, and it's like, oh, the guests, like half of them get the bride's sister coming over to them and whispering something in their ear during dinner, and half of them don't. Like, that just creates a weird energy.
Yeah, the whole thing is sus for sure.
Yeah, and it's like, what is it gonna do? Like, at that point, you're just gonna be like, don't eat, then what? They're just gonna be there all night and not consume any food.
Yeah.
Like, you need food.
Like,
I mean,
like, you bring in more food at that point? Like, call like the local Chick-fil-A
Yeah.
and be like, we need a whole tray of nuggets. Like,
I mean, it's like, it's not on OP to make up for her mom's stupid mistake or wrongdoing, but like,
what do you do?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
either.
think she's an asshole.
No.
I think the mom is totally in the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But if I knew that this happened, I might just, I don't know. I see where she's coming from, though, because she thinks people are going to get sick if they eat it. Yeah. Okay. I don't think she's an asshole at all. I just think there was no easy solution. Like, this is a situation that really doesn't have an easy answer, if any answer at all, because the only answer would be either telling everyone and then embarrassing both the mom and the bride and the couple, and then ordering new food to be
I know, that's where I was thinking.
Like,
I was like, if this was me, if I was the sister whose leftovers were being served at your wedding, what would I do? My first first thought, if I was like, I don't want people to eat this food, would be like, everyone do not eat the food. I'm literally calling like the Chick-fil-A or the local like Italian takeout place and getting trays of pasta and chicken fingers. Like, that is literally my first reaction. It's only going to be a couple $100. Like, whatever.
Oh, no, that would be so much more money.
Just to bring in like hot trays of food.
I was just talking to a fellow wedding vendor, and he said that they got a Chipotle truck to come to, or they ordered like a bunch of Chipotle to do late night for guests, and it was $5,000.
Okay. If my sister was getting married and I wanted to step in and do the food, $5,000 fine. If it was like seriously that big of an issue.
Yeah.
At the same time, would I want to humiliate my mom and my sister?
Right.
My mom and my sister wouldn't do this, so I don't know. Like
I mean, the sister isn't at fault either. She
no,
didn't
I know, but like my mom wouldn't do this. I hope. Holy shit. No, my mom would never. So like I can't even imagine. But it's like I don't know. Maybe if they did, they deserve to be embarrassed. I don't fucking know.
Honestly, that's a good point too. It's like, does the mom she did it to herself? Like she did this crazy weird ass thing and served people food that was 8 months old
and didn't even tell the bride.
Yeah, like
if you're worried about embarrassing the bride, you can be like, someone put this together. The bride didn't know. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe don't even call out the mom. Just say, we had no idea this was happening. Wedding planners stepped in and this was done. We're going to get other food for you guys. We didn't realize this was someone's plan.
It's so weird, though, to think about, like, actually being at a wedding and they didn't realize that it was the same food until it was being served, right? Because that's when you see the food for the first time, when it's being set down in front of you.
What kind of food was it? Like, clearly maybe it was heating up steaks and baked potatoes.
Maybe they were. I don't know. Maybe it was a buffet and it was in those, like, tin things and they just kind of, like, took the covers off of them and then people saw it. But I just don't think there's actually an easy way to handle this without it going terribly wrong, because if you think about it, I'm sure the bride's sister was not the first person to see the food. And by the time even if she was, by the time she realized what was happening, confirmed with the mom, checked in with her sister, guaranteed many, many other guests got their food and started eating it. They may have already been done. So it's like, at that point, do you say, by the way, the food is 8 months old? Now people are going to start to make themselves sick. Yeah. So at that point, it's like, do you even really do anything?
Don't say anything.
Maybe just tell people that are like immunocompromised. Like if you have a grandma or like young kids with like, I don't know, like bad stomachs. Yeah. You're like, oh, maybe don't eat that. But guess. Like you'd have to make an announcement and be like, you guys, like something went wrong in the kitchen and we need to just throw out the food and get a new order. Yeah. And that's how you can not embarrass the mom.
Yeah, I think a lie for sure.
But there's no way that would have been able to happen in a timely manner before people ate.
Yeah.
There's just no like actual solution if this actually happened at a real wedding.
I think that, yeah, you're right. If there was, like, if this was done in a timely manner, if, like, I was the bride's sister and I was present when the food came out and I noticed, I'd be like, fuck no. I would be like, take it to the back. Yeah. And I'm calling, like, the closest place. And I'm going to be like, I'm sorry that there's a delay on dinner. Keep, like, the cocktail hour, something. Yeah. I would figure out food. Like, 100%. I would be like, you know what, let's do the reception and then we'll just have a late night like, I don't know. I would figure it out and I would lie and say there was a mix up with the food. If it was too late and some people had already started eating,
which is what happened here,
I wouldn't say anything because
I wouldn't say anything either.
Up, but like, there's people freeze things for a reason. Like it probably is okay.
It really probably is okay.
It probably is okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was 2 edits. 1, my wedding had about 200 guests. My husband has a large family and we intentionally planned for more people to come and knew that a lot wouldn't for one reason or another. So we knew we'd likely have leftovers and wanted to be smart about it. 2, my sister and her husband have been together for about 10 years. They recently decided to get married for tax reasons and wanted to do a courthouse wedding, but my mom begged her to let her do an event.
No.
So she had a small wedding with only 50 people. My sister hates planning and people, so she let my mom do everything. 3, have y'all ever heard of a garage freezer? They're super common where I'm from.
Sure. I have heard of a garage freezer, and I can picture...
that's irrelevant.
No, I'm saying I can picture 50 meals worth of food in a garage freezer for 8 months. Like, that's a thing that people do. Totally. Yeah. I get it. I can see it, especially with those details. I can see it. If I wanted to have a courthouse wedding and my mom convinced me to have a party and then served that, why did you want me to have the party? Come on.
Yeah, that's so true.
Like, if you didn't want to pay for it, why did you convince me to do it? We didn't have to do this to start.
Yeah, the mom is crazy, and if she faced public embarrassment, it would be her own fault.
We need to ask a lawyer.
A lawyer what?
Who's the asshole here?
Have any laws been broken?
We need to ask someone that works for, like, the FDA.
The overall vote was not the asshole.
Mom's the asshole.
That was next level cheapskate behavior from your mom. And she could have
TLC or whatever channel it is.
She could have made everyone very sick. Yep, this seems like some TLC extreme cheapskate level. The kind of behavior where you're hoping it is made up or exaggerated for the camera. Yeah, the mom's crazy.
Crazy.